Somewhere in a forest you'll never visit, an elephant is standing over a pile of bones. Not fresh bones, old ones, bleached white by years of sun. She touches the skull with her trunk, slowly, again, the way you might touch a face you used to know. She isn't eating, she isn't moving on, she's just standing there. So does she know what death is? Or is this just an animal doing something that looks like grief with nothing behind it? You've probably been told the answer your whole life. Animals react, they don't reflect. That line has always felt solid. It's part of what makes you feel human. But the closer scientists look, the more that line starts to crack. Start with the elephants themselves, because they broke this idea first. Researcher Cynthia spent decades in Kenya's Amboseli National Park watching elephant herds encounter the dead. Not just the newly dead. Old skeletons scattered across the plains. Elephants would stop mid-walk, they'd gather in silence around a skull, lifting it with their trunks, turning it over again and again. Skeletons of strangers got ignored. Skeletons of family members, even years old, drew them in every time. How does an elephant remember which bones belonged to someone it loved, years after the body is gone? That question is what pushed researchers toward a simpler idea than animals understand mortality. Maybe grief doesn't require a philosophy of death at all? Maybe it only requires memory, attachment, and absence. An animal doesn't need to know it will die someday to feel that someone who mattered is suddenly, permanently, not there. Anthropologist Barbara King spent years documenting this pattern across species. Her argument is careful. She isn't saying animals think about death the way you do, with your calendars and your gravestones. She's saying grief itself is real in them, observable. Not something humans are imagining onto an animal's behavior, but something the behavior is actually showing you. Chimpanzees make that argument almost impossible to ignore. Jane Goodall documented a young chimp named Flint after he lost his mother, Flo. He stopped eating, he withdrew from the group, he sat near the place she died and wouldn't leave. Within weeks, he was gone too, with no wound and no predator involved. Doctors have a name for that pattern in humans. Broken heart syndrome. Goodall watched it happen in a chimpanzee, with no explanation ever given to him at all. But some animals don't just mourn, they investigate. Biologist John Marzluff at the University of Washington ran an experiment with crows that's now famous. His team placed a dead crow in public and watched. Within minutes, other crows gathered, calling loudly, pulling in more birds from the area, sometimes dozens for one crow they'd never met. They didn't touch the body. They circled it. Marzluff's data showed something even stranger. If a person was standing near the dead crow, the birds remembered that person's face for years afterward, treating them as a threat on sight. A dead crow isn't just a loss to grieve. To other crows, it's a warning to decode. Something here kills crows, and you'd better remember what it looked like. Grief and intelligence tangled into a single act. Dolphins show a different side of this entirely. Marine biologists have repeatedly documented mother dolphins pushing their dead calves through the water for days, refusing to let the current take them, sometimes nudging the body toward the surface again and again, as if trying to force air back into lungs that will never breathe. No one taught her that. Her body is simply doing the only thing it knows how to do when the thing she loves stops responding. Try again. For most of your life, you were taught this was the line between you and every other animal. Humans mourn, animals survive, but an elephant circling bones for years doesn't sound like survival instinct. Neither does a chimpanzee whose heart gave out from loss, or a crow building a memory system around the dead, or a mother who will not let go. What actually separates you from them? Less than you'd think. You don't understand death through logic either. You understand it through absence. An empty chair, a phone that doesn't ring, a jacket you can't bring yourself to wash. Your brain isn't running some advanced philosophical process when someone you love dies. It's doing exactly what the elephant's brain is doing. Noticing someone who used to be there isn't. And checking again, just in case. Grief may not be a human invention sitting on top of animal instinct. It may be one of the oldest signals evolution never bothered to erase because it was never a flaw. It's information. This one mattered, and their absence needs to be marked. So the next time you keep a photograph on your desk or replay a voicemail you can't delete, you're not doing something separate from the rest of the animal kingdom. You're standing exactly where that elephant is standing, over bones that still mean something to somebody.